Hello and welcome to Scout Report, where today we're profiling 3 coaches perfect for pulling struggling sides out of mid-season slumps. And first up we head to Everton, who have already made their own bold move. Sean Dyche. After sacking Frank Lampard, Everton seemed to be fighting the gravity pulling them towards hiring Sean Dyche, before accepting defeat and bringing in the former Burnley boss. But while exciting possession coaches like Marcelo Bielsa may capture the imagination of supporters and club owners, struggling teams are always going to need firefighter managers, and if we're entering an era where Dyche is the first call rather than Sam Allardyce or Tony Pulis, that has to count as an improvement. And Dyche offers more than just a rock-solid defence. Though his nickname is the Ginger Mourinho, Dyche had more in common with Diego Simeone during his time in the Northwest, with criticism of his negative football creating a sense of us against them at the club, bonding players and fans. It was not uncommon to hear Burnley supporters cheer big tackles and last-ditch blocks, and Dyche himself was an iconic figure, even seeing a pub close to Turf Moor christened the Royal Dyche in his honour. That sense of unity is something sorely missing at Everton, who have routinely appointed ill-suited coaches and made overpriced signings in the name of ambition. And while he might be a gear change for a team managed by Carlo Ancelotti just 18 months ago, Dyche has a great track record of keeping up a side on a shoestring, which in the Toffees case would allow them to turn over a squad which is now the 6th oldest in the league. The groundwork is also perfectly set out for Dyche to make an immediate impact. In Keane, Tarkowski and McNeil, he has 3 key players he already knows, and despite 3 wins all season and the 2nd worst rearguard in the league by expected goals, Everton do have passable defensive options, with Connor Cody, Seamus Coleman, Yerry Mina and Amadou Onana all competent top flight players, and they even have a couple of promising youngsters on the books too, in James Garner and Nathan Patterson. That roster is probably an upgrade on anything Dyche had to work with at Burnley, where he quietly worked miracles with a squad rated the least valuable in the division in 4 of their 7 seasons in the Prem. They may have finished in the bottom half of the table in 5 of those campaigns under Dyche, suffering relegation twice, but only once did the defence concede more than 1.5 goals a game, meaning that while their average finish was 15th, their defence ranked 12th in the league on average between 2014 and 2022. And though they were notoriously goal shy, only scoring over 1 goal a game in 3 Premier League campaigns, they were still extremely difficult to beat, Dyche's men avoiding defeat in 55% of their top flight fixtures across his spell in charge. Despite what you think, he can maximise certain attacking tools too. Chris Wood netted double figures in 4 consecutive years at Burnley, and in his best year of the Clarets put up 0.66 XG per 90, ranking 15th in the Prem, ahead of Vardy and Rashford, who scored 40 between them that season. Handing Dyche a Calvert-Lewin could yield a similar return, and would also play to the strengths of Everton's wide men, with Damari Gray taking 7.2 crosses per 90 and Dwight McNeil 5.9, placing them 7th and 13th among Premier League players respectively for crosses attempted each match. Whether he keeps them up or not, Everton's financial situation and ageing roster foretell a few years of choppy waters, and a strong figurehead like Dyche is probably the best hope of steadying the ship. The sense that they might have done better shouldn't blind the Toffees to the recognition that they could have done a whole lot worse. Jose Bordalas. Getting sacked by a mid-table side can be a red flag in a manager, but when that mid-table side is Valencia, it's often worth giving the coach the benefit of the doubt. Over the last 10 years, Los Che has changed permanent manager 12 times, with the casualties of their dugouts including Marcelino, Nuno Espirito Santo and most recently Gennaro Gattuso. In the case of Bordalas, he took charge of the 2021-22 campaign, leading the club from 13th to 9th and reaching the final of the Copa del Rey. It was a long journey to the top for the manager, who earned his first job with hometown club Alicante in 1994, only coming to prominence in 2015 when he returned Alaves to La Liga for the first time in a decade in his debut season in charge, only to be sacked inexplicably at the end of the year. He then took over Getafe and once again excelled, winning promotion in year 1, reaching 8th in the top flight in year 2 and 5th in year 3, narrowly missing out on a spot in the Champions League by 2 points and earning the Manager of the Season award, all with Getafe. The Azulones remained in La Liga for the next 2 campaigns, and Bordalas' tenure was notable for the press he deployed. Getafe always ranked as one of the most aggressive sides in Spain, breaking up opposition play every 9 passes or fewer, and that meant it was extremely hard to get into their part of the pitch. In 2020-21, his last with the Madrid outfit, opponents made 155 deep completions against them all season. That is, successful passes within 20 metres of the goal. That was second to Sevilla and fewer than Atletico, Barcelona or Real Madrid. That press went with him to Valencia, who only allowed their opponents 8.7 passes per defensive action in his single year, 5th best in Spain and a tally that would rank second in the Prem in 2022-23 behind only Leeds. And suddenly Los Che were dominating territory, going from spending 33% of games in their own third to 28% and getting into the opposition zone 31% of the time, up from 25%, an improvement from 18th to 3rd in the division. That's a colossal change in 12 months, and Bordalas was also able to squeeze the best out of players at his disposal, producing 16 goal involvements from Carlos Soler, earning him a big move to PSG, and 11 from Gonçalo Guedes, the first and only time in his career that the Portuguese has hit double figures in a campaign. For a mid-table team, Bordalas' ability to develop talent, as he has done with players like Yunus Musa, Brian Hill and Marc Cucurella, could prove a welcome boost to the bank balance. He may not be a household name, and at 58 he's not young either, but Bordalas is clearly able to take his tactics from club to club, to overperform with limited resources and to adapt his game to the demands of a new competition. With plenty of sides across Europe looking short of ideas, perhaps they could find them in Alicante. Luis Enrique. If Sean Dyche is perfect for relegation battlers and Bordalas an option for mid-table sides looking up, Luis Enrique completes our journey to the topmost reaches of the game. Out of work following a miserable World Cup exit to Morocco, the Spaniard is still an experienced and highly decorated coach, with a career win rate of nearly 60% and 9 trophies to his name, most notably the Champions League as part of the 2014-15 treble with Barcelona. But why highlight Luis Enrique rather than other unemployed top-class tacticians like Pochettino, Thomas Tuchel or Zinedine Zidane? Well, as good as they all are, and they are brilliant, they're likely to be choosy in their next job. And Tuchel and Pochettino in particular are keen to play a particular brand of football, while the former Barca midfielder is a rarer thing, an excellent problem solver who finds intelligent solutions with what he has at his disposal. If Tottenham were to cut ties with Antonio Conte or Atletico Madrid wanted to move on from Diego Simeone gently this summer, Luis Enrique would be an interesting candidate. Having just come from a job with the national team, the definition of make-do management, he showed his ingenuity at the recent World Cup, building half the team out of midfielders with Rodri and even Marcos Llorente slotting into the back line, and a front line which rarely featured a dedicated centre forward. And though they suffered an early exit, Spain did play an effective and distinctive style. Their possession of 77% was obscene and 13% above their closest challengers, while they were outscored by just 5 teams at the tournament and conceded the fewest shots per game with 5.8. If they'd had a different draw, they might well have gone far. The 52-year-old also deserves credit for his work at Barcelona. Of course, he had incredible riches to work with, but he took over with Real Madrid fresh from a 10th Champions League triumph, with the Benzema, Bale, Ronaldo attack flying. Meanwhile, Atletico Madrid had just won the title, and Luis Suarez couldn't play until nearly November, thanks to his ban for biting Giorgio Chiellini at the World Cup. Even once the Uruguayan came back, the MSN attack was no surefire success, Suarez taking 2 months to net his first league goal. But under Luis Enrique's patient guidance, Barca improved on an already incredible baseline, upping 100 league goals to 110 and going from allowing 33 to just 21. While in the Champions League, his side breezed through arguably the toughest run in recent years, beating Manchester City, PSG, Bayern Munich and Juventus in the knockout stages. He was also willing to make adjustments to the style, going against Barca nature by upping his side's crossing and learning from Atleti's success on set pieces, taking the Blaugrana from 8 dead ball goals in 2013-14 to 16 in each of the next 2 campaigns. With this blend of idealism and pragmatism, the Spaniard is a sensible choice for any ambitious club, and he has the playing credentials, the trophy cabinet and the authority to wrangle the biggest egos in the sport. If he listens to offers, he shouldn't be out of work for too much longer. So that was our scout report looking at 3 managers who could save your club's mid-season slump. But what do you make of our suggestions? Let us know in the comments down below. Everton fans, we want to hear from you on Dyche. If you enjoyed this video, why not smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already with notifications on, and we'll see you next time.